The Rocky Mountains versus the heart of Texas. The juxtaposition between the two landscapes couldn't be more stark. But now the stakes have reached their greatest heights in the playoffs. RGV hasn't backed away from any challenge this year. Faced with an early season slump, they have turned it around and finished this season in peak form. But a trip to the altitude presents a different challenge. Colorado Springs is searching for a path forward after late season struggles. One thing the Switchbacks do have on their side is home field advantage. It's time for the Western Conference playoffs. The Toros, the Switchbacks, next. The playoffs have arrived, and we start things off in the Western Conference from Widener Field in Colorado Springs, Colorado, as Switchbacks FC play host to RGV. This match is presented by Phil Long. With Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us. Look at the Western Conference bracket presented by Hisense. 3 conference quarterfinals will be going on this weekend. Of course, it's all reseeded going into the conference semifinals next weekend. But looking at our game tonight, RGV, these last 10 games, nothing short of fantastic.
Best record in the entire USL Championship, either Eastern or Western Conference, and the plus 15 goal differential, second only to the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I attribute this to the Wilmer Cabrera effect. It's a reversion to the form of 2016 in their inaugural year. Points per game, goal differential, clean sheets, everything is much cleaner this season.
And one player they will not have to deal with, who of course is not with the team anymore, that's Haji Berry.
We know he can score goals, Josh, but the biggest difference to Haji Berry of 2022 is his ability to operate as a false 9 in restricted locations away from goal. He repeatedly moves towards the ball in deeper positions from a higher starting point. Now, he often receives that centrally. The main intention here is to get on the ball away from the center backs, and in doing so, you draw players out, disrupt lines. Case in point, 4v1 against the defenders, has a clear view to slip the ball through. Defenders pivot, space opens up, Haji buries it. This time, striker posts high. Now there are tons of space underneath, but no one's attacking that space outside the top of the 18. Cam Lindley takes it upon himself. Now he can fulfill this role, but you're asking your starting 6 from 60 yards away to attack the space, handle the finishing duties. That's not your best look overall. So where do you turn to? Simple. It's one of these 3 players because they are comfortable in the exact same space that Haji Berry just vacated. Elvis Amo, Jairo Enriquez, Michi Galina. The biggest look you want to see out of one of these 3 guys is their points per game model. It's a mark. It's either a goal or an assist. In almost 50% or better of the games that they play in, those 3 have to step up high to push forth in the playoffs.
And those are our players to watch presented by Modelo. We're building you up to first kick from Widener Field, Switchbacks FC, RGV lineups, and first kick coming up next.
Think you know football? Well, here's your chance to prove it. Enter our Fox 21 High West Siding and Windows Pro Football Challenge. One lucky national grand prize winner will get a trip for 2 to beautiful Hawaii or $5,000 in cold hard cash. Local weekly winners will receive a $25 Amazon gift card. Plus, at the end of the football season, one local winner will get a big screen TV. Go to fox21news.com today to enter your picks and check back weekly to see how you match up against other fans in Southern Colorado.
The FIFA World Cup has moved to the holidays.
Oh, my gooseberries. This is going to make everything wonderful.
We got work to do. We're going to need a ton of stars and sweaters.
And lots of mistletoe.
Isn't he getting kind of old?
3,000 more Mbappe!
You know, we need a song.
Do you have any idea how busy I am this time of year?
Okay, maybe not a song, but just think of the lights. And the U.S. winning it all would be a Christmas miracle.
Hi, I'm Fox 21 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister. This is the Chick-fil-A Cow. I have a unique and fun way that you can support the kids of our fallen military and first responders. It's the Chick-fil-A Garden of the Gods Skate for Chicken event to benefit Angels of America's Fallen on Saturday, October 29th. You could win free Chick-fil-A for a whole year. Go to fox21news.com to sign up and help support our community.
U.S. goalkeeper Ethan Horvath's story began in the Mile High City.
I was born in Denver, Colorado, and I grew up in Highlands Ranch. Growing up, my dad was coach at Columbine High School, so I've been around the sport my whole life.
Ethan dazzled his hometown fans last summer against Mexico in the Nations League final, and he plans to make all of Denver proud once again this fall in Qatar.
The World Cup is where the whole country kind of stops and watches. We know what we can accomplish and what we can do as a team.
Back here at Widener Field, today's player walkout is sponsored by Children's Hospital Colorado. Time to take a look at tonight's starting lineups, and those are presented by Phil Long. We'll start with Colorado Springs.
Brendan Burke has sat down Echeverria and put Zach Zandy into the 10 spot. That's the key point you want to look at here within this lineup. Everything else remains unchanged. We've seen it before. We've heard it before. It relies on the duties down in the central locations to try and spring these guys going forward on the counter or in possession. Wilmer Cabrera, he's made a couple of changes. Zach way onto the back line, not surprised there. Pinzon and Ikaza into the midfield. What you will notice is as this team goes forward, a lot of balls from back to front, a lot of separation from the front four, which is the striker and the attacking midfielders, through the rest of the team. That space in the middle is going to be so crucial for both of these squads. You win that space, you win possession, you win this game.
So we are all set to go. It is a pristine evening for playoff soccer. 67 degrees, clear skies, and we are underway tonight from Colorado Springs. RGV is in blue. It is Colorado Springs in all black. Well, of course, both these teams making it to the playoffs for the second straight year, but it was RGV. They were the ones to get a win last year. They went to Phoenix and did it. An early chance here, and it's put right across the 6-yard box and cleared away. This Colorado Springs side coming out with some vengeance. We talked to Brendan Burke this week. He said, we're fired up. We have some unfinished business from last year after that loss to the eventual champions in Orange County. And they have come out here quick in the opening 40 seconds. They're going up against an RGV side that, as we showed you in the open, has been one of the best teams in the USL Championship coming into the playoffs. And it sets up a really intriguing matchup. And just looking on Twitter and social media, hearing from different experts around the league, this is a very popular upset pick, and it's going to be intriguing to see how these 90 minutes may be more kind of fair.
Almost to the point that the upset feels like chalk, right, doesn't it? That RGV is actually the pick that everybody's favoring here. Now, the seed overall in Colorado Springs speaks for itself. It's the ridiculous start that was. They were 8-2, one of the best starts through 10 games in USL Championship history. They were 12-5 at the halfway point. Of course, history hasn't been so kind to them down the stretch. They struggled, but the reason that they struggled is a multitude of things. They went 5-8-4 to finish out the season. You lose Hadji Barry in the final 4 games. You had 13 players at one point in time that were injured and unavailable for selection for Brendan Burke. Think about that. And yet, you still finish with a home playoff spot and then as the number 3 overall seed. But to your point, they feel that heat, they hear the white noise, and they're using it as bulletin board material, and I don't blame them, because this team still has the ability to put a star above their crest and reign supreme atop the USL Championship.
Yeah, those first 13 games, a 2.54 points per game average. Their last 21, just 1.05. There's Cam Lindley, who's been at the heart of it all this entire season. He'll clip this forward. Good ball in, put across and just wide. Macaulay King nearly finding the opener inside of 3 minutes.
If you've lived under a rock, Cam Lindley's the leading chance creator in the USL Championship for good reason, but there's no reason whatsoever why Maca King goes unmarked here. It's a beautiful ball up over the top, well taken off the chest. He's felt quite familiar and at home within the friendly confines of the holding midfielder spot next to Cam Lindley, something that we saw regularly under Mark Lowry and El Paso Locomotive. Nice to see Maca King healthy and back in form.
Here's Ruiz. Ruiz will take it on. He slices it out of play. Ruiz, 3 goals, 7 assists this year. Right at the top of that front 3 for Wilmer Cabrera and RGV. Wilmer Cabrera said it was important to finish the season well. A 4-1 win over Monterey Bay. His team put in a good performance. They had to pick up a result that last week of the season. They did just that, and they did it in pretty dramatic fashion as well. This is turned over, another whistle, and a free kick. Tonight's referee is Mark Allerton. This is put out of play. Another throw-in coming for Colorado Springs. Their fourth ever playoff appearance. Their first one coming in 2015. Also made it in 2016. And of course we mentioned last year, so it's come in bunches for them. And looking at these two teams so far throughout this season, RGV, I mean, there's only 6 points to separate these two once it was all said and done, but it looked like these two teams, there would have been a much bigger gap if you just look at the first part of the season.
Well, imagine if you could take RGV over the last 10 and Colorado Springs over the first 10.
Yeah.
I'd take that as my final right now.
Might be the top two.
Yeah, I mean, the hope is that we can get both teams in the quality of form that was just mentioned. Again, the capability is certainly there. About RGV and what they've been able to do on the road this year. Pretty magnificent overall for Wilma Cabrera away from the friendly confines of HEB Park, which traditionally is the location where all the dirty work is done. But their road record, 6-6-5. That's third best in the Western Conference, 23 points overall. I look at the balance as well because they were able to accumulate 26 points at home, +7 on the road, +4 away. Excellent balance for Cabrera's boys.
Zandy moves it out wide. The cross well overhit. Almost into the concourse there at Widener Field. Rowan Enriquez for Colorado Springs. This team, this city always supports the Switchbacks. Another great crowd on a beautiful night, as we mentioned. Trying to catch some playoff soccer. First home playoff game since 2016. That was a loss, though, in the first round to Vancouver Whitecaps, too. Remember, this is the first game to kick off in the Western Conference. Sacramento, New Mexico later on tonight. 2 games in the East have kicked off, and then 2 more tomorrow. Birmingham, Pittsburgh, the early game. San Diego, Oakland, kickoff at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And some USL playoffs after dark, no doubt.
I would say already an interesting point tactically is if you keep an eye right at the top of your screen. That's Juan David Cabezas and Emilia Caza, who's just off the right shoulder. They're playing pretty high. Now, usually you get one or the other. Cabrera going with both. The idea is to remove the balls coming off the back line into Cam Lindley or Macca King. They want you to move to the exterior or bypass the central spots altogether, go up over the top. That would play right into their hands if they're able to track the game in that fashion. The only thing you have to be very careful of is that when it does come to the exterior, if it's a quick ball to the side, you got to rotate over in a rapid pace. Otherwise, you're going to get it to the feet of guys like Tristan Hodge and Sebastian Anderson, who with overlapping runs and support from Jairo Enriquez and Michi Galina could prove quite fruitful.
Anderson moves it out wide. Enriquez just keeps this in play. Trying to turn the corner now. The cross comes in. Galino is waiting for it, but this is headed clear. As far as Cam Lindley, now it's Hodge. Galina finding some space. That cross deflected out of play. It's a corner kick coming for Colorado Springs, first of the match. This corner kick brought to you by Pikes Peak National Bank. Bank well, be well, cheer loud. Lindley will play this in short. Now it's Zandy. His in-swinger is headed right into the air. It's a crucial header. Still it's Zandy. Down the line, Galena. Double team there. Akwe got a foot in. RGV can try to carry this away as it's touched out for an RGV throw-in. Remember this RGV team taking down Phoenix in this same round a year ago, going on the road, but talking with Wilmer Cabrera, he looks at it very differently. Last year was last year, this year is this year, and of course when they are coming in for the type of form they are here today, it really changes things. But we showed the numbers, of course, between last year and this year. It's very similar when you look at these last two seasons for the Toros.
Well, I would say that the comments that I took away from that in terms of the Phoenix representation was how similar it was in terms of the adrenaline. He said, you know, you can't switch on right away because both these teams, Colorado Springs and then the Phoenix Rising squad of 2021, sort of limping into the playoffs, right? They weren't the same form that you saw earlier on that season. And he said, we gambled a little bit. We were a little bit more aggressive. We knew that they were good, but we found a way through our character and our determination to push through and to go get a victory. The tactical analysis that I gave you around the 7th minute mark, same thing. They are gambling a little bit, giving up some of the space on the inside. They're also going 2 for 2. So even though you've pushed one of those midfielders higher, you've also removed one from the equation for the Switchbacks. So it's forcing them to play another direction right now, similar to what we saw against Phoenix Rising last season.
Cabezas. Quickly moving the ball to the far side. Akeem Ward coming over from Oakland in the middle of the season. Feldberg. This one is skied out of play. Goal kick upcoming. He has been a big part why RGV has been so successful. Jonas Feldberg, 6 goals in his 11 appearances since coming over from Indy 11.
Sort of interesting how he's jumped around leagues, right, with his talent level. You're looking at a guy coming out of Dayton, 22 goals and 21 assists in 61 collegiate games. Some would say that's pretty good. That's why you're the A10 Rookie of the Year, and you know, an opportunity as the Offensive Player of the Year back-to-back seasons. Gets drafted by FC Cincinnati within MLS, 54th overall. And then from there, it's, okay, we're going to keep him. We're going to loan him to RGV. He ends up with Indy. Is he going to go to the 2 squad with MLS Next Pro? Wilmer Cabrera gets his hands back on him. He's got the talent, there's no doubt about that, but he is the type of player that needs the confidence and the regular repetitions. And with the lack of depth that they had within their attacking unit, Wilmer Cabrera said this was the area that we needed to focus on the most. We knew we could defend, we had good goalkeeping, and we had plenty of depth within the midfield, but our front line, we needed a spark. Pinzon and Fieldberg have really given them that spark, and the statistics speak for themselves along the way.
Loaded in this space, it's Akeem Ward. Tries to cut this back. King stepped in, cleared it away.
Only 2 blocks away, high-speed lager house is the official Switchbacks game day party spot. Pre-game on the rooftop patio, Switchbacks fans get pizza and a pint for $12 on game days.
Tight quarters there on the far side. Zandy able to win it back for the Switchbacks. Enriquez. RGV able to keep this, and now a whistle will come and give Colorado Springs a free kick. But there is a goal we can tell you about from Tampa Bay in their game against Miami. Turned over in the midfield. Eventually it would be Sebastian Guenzati to touch this home. The Rowdies lead 1-0.
How's the run by Leo Fernandez? Just 3v1 mustering his way with all the possibilities as an attacking playmaker, and though the ball doesn't roll in, Grande, once again, he is on absolute fire. That is his 5th goal in the last 4 games. This guy couldn't hit the target at the start of the season, but the streaking Tampa Bay Rowdies have an Eastern Conference final set in their sights once again.
Could they be on a crash course with Louisville City? Memphis might have something to say about that if they can get by Detroit tonight. That game still 0-0 nearing halftime. King plays it out wide, but the flag is up for offside.
I'd say either one of those games really have the upset intentions about them, Josh, right? Ben Pierman, great storyline, former Detroit City manager. Of course, the turnaround that has been the greatness for Memphis 901 FC. Said if not for the record-setting season of San Antonio and Louisville City within their organizational records and individuals, that could be your #1 overall seed this year. 68 points they were able to put up in that highly touted Eastern Conference. A little bit top-heavy, but they battled through it.
Still got to put the points up.
Not wrong. And then, of course, the FC on the road. Detroit City, Trevor James, top 3 best ever for an expansion team coming into the USL Championship. Miami FC, the turnaround defensively. Anthony Pulis. Of course, the Saturday night special. It's a little bit different. We've seen and heard those names before, haven't we?
Elvis Amo will get there for the switchbacks. This is locked down. It's put out for another corner kick. This corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. We are in your corner.
How's the run here by Elvis Amo? You know, I talked to you about the central spots of him coming down in, but this is where he can really utilize some of his best assets, specifically the speed. Look at him stretch his legs, just glides by Pimentel. He had come down in, wanted the ball at his feet. Maka King had other ideas. Great reaction.
Took it quickly, did Colorado Springs. Looking for Amo again. This is touched out for another corner kick. Remember Amo last year with RGV, scoring 11 goals for the Toros. Now wearing the colors of the opposition tonight. Again, he played short. Cross comes in right to the penalty spot. Galena right on frame, but it's Tyler Derrick there to make the save for RGV.
Chatting with Brendan Burke, he said that in these matchups come playoff time, we spend a little bit more time on our own set pieces. This is a real good look at where maybe they've gone to that little black book early on within this game. All the space, little fake on the far side. The decoy allows you to play the 2v1 game, get it square back across. Even off the deflection, you get a half chance from distance for Misha Galena. Nice positive thinking so far for Colorado Springs. Really haven't seen a ton from RGV up top, but again, they've asked them to bypass the midfield, play a little bit more direct. Brendan Burke and his band of Misfit Warriors happy to do so.
And of course, we were talking with Brendan Burke yesterday, and he's saying how Zach Sandy was so crucial to this attacking unit now, because all these different players can go back into their natural and more comfortable positions. And Zandy can play as more of that number 10. He's only played 17 games in the regular season, exactly half. Handled some injuries, but Brendan Burke happy to have him back and a familiar face for him as well.
We showed you a graphic in the open that showed 3 players, Misha Galena, Elvis Amo, Jaiwo Enriquez. All of them were around 50% of marking in a game, meaning a goal or an assist in about half of the games that they played in. Well, how about Zach Zandy? We left him off only because of the amount of games that he played. And of course, Jaiwo Enriquez is the hot name because he came in late. But he's got 5 goals and 3 assists in 17 games. So he's right there with them, Josh. Another one of the playmakers that they can lean on here. So it's easy to look at Hadji Barry, the goals that you've lost, the assists, what he's capable of doing within this system. But it's almost like trial by fire, putting all of them together, sort of a Moneyball type idea where you group them together and you recreate it in the aggregate.
Gilbert cutting in field. His shot was blocked down. Hodge heads it clear. RGV trying to keep that pressure on to keep the ball. Galena is pushed down. 2 players on the turf right now for Colorado Springs, and play continues on with Ruiz. Kaza turns it back. Ruiz again, clipping this forward, looking for Ricketts. This is headed out of play. Throw on RGV.
Season tickets are now on sale. Interested in becoming a season ticket holder? Join now and save up to 40% off game day prices. Head to our Switchbacks tent in the southwest corner for more info.
Pimentel. RGV knocking around, getting some time on the ball.
All the space in the middle clogged. Juan Pablo Torres, Emilio Icaza, Cabezas coming down, and look how deep he is. He comes all the way back in, then there's a 30-yard gap, and then that high front line. You know, coming into the playoffs, most coaches were talking about really a front 4 for the Toros. That's a little different of a look now, and it's a good idea. The problem is you don't really have anybody to play off of. Now, the DNA of this team overall, I said, is you're going to see a separation where that front 4 goes high. Defensively, they stay deep. You'll see a lot of long balls up over the top, and then they'll go in a 50-50, or they'll collect possession and play off of each other. But right now, they can't even link up with the front line. It's a very good job in terms of overall structure for the back line for Colorado Springs. Man marking situations, good zonal passing back and forth, and then once they win it, excellent to regain their composure and come the other direction.
Enriquez stays with it. Now it's touchdown to play for the Switchback side. Team that's kind of gone through an evolution of their own throughout this season. At times, it was more of a back 3, now moving into a back 4. Enriquez looked like he stayed onside. It's a Mo. And it looked like he was kept onside because Akwe was shoulder to shoulder there with Elvis Amo. It's another corner kick brought to you by McDivitt Law Firm. We are in your corner. Lindley again will stand over this for the Switchbacks. They put their noses out in front. Enriquez. Lindley just got himself back on side. Back heel looking for Zandy. Flag stays down. Zandy's cross is cut out. Ball did just stay in play on the far touchline, and RGV can hold on to possession. There's a touch for Jeff Caldwell, who of course is making his 2nd career playoff appearance. On emergency loan last year with Miami FC in their first-round game against Louisville City. Hodge goes down. It's going to be a free kick. Ricketts got caught, and it is an early yellow card here for RGV and the right back, Jonathan Ricketts.
Had to happen, though. Persistent infringement by RGV, as well as the overall challenge. Michi Galena, this is where he's so good at playing around you, because even though Tristan Hodge is the one that collects the contact from the outside back, it's Galena who creates it. He gets you as a defender to question what your body positioning should be, because your mind leads you down the line, but the quick little cut inside, you've got to immediately pivot. He gets squared up, flat-footed, and then has to react from behind.
As caution, sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health, and well-being for all. Remember to take a moment to breathe. Just a two-man wall there for RGV protecting the near post.
Just keep an eye on Sebastian Anderson. You can play off of each other. Enriquez sitting at the top of the 18 as well. Now that he peels off, another short option if you want it.
Lindley will take that short option. There's a missed touch there by Zandy. And nothing really comes of that free kick, but maybe a chance for RGV to counter. Space on the far side for Ricketts. This is touched along. Torres turns it in field. Here's Akeem Ward. Akwe comes forward. Onto his left foot, into the back post. Push there in the back, and this will be a free kick going back to the Switchbacks. So we can give you another update from Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete. Miami FC, they were able to find an equalizer. Joaquin Rivas would just slot this one home, but Devin, that wouldn't be all.
No, it's a terrible back pass. He gets it to 1-1, but then let's talk about another mid-season transfer, Nicky Law. Watch him pick this thing up on the back post. Good perseverance by the Rowdies, whipped in by Dayon Harris, off the deflection to the backside. Cue Nicky Law, cue the great strike from distance, and the Rowdies have the lead.
That one is a fun one in St. Pete. 2-1 to the Rowdies. Another challenge there in the midfield, and this time a free kick going RGV's way. Cabezas. Ikaza. Here's Ricketts. Ward going right at Anderson. Gonna split that double team. Ward just kept it for RGV. Pressure here on Caldwell. He skies the clearance. Ward. Just a little bit too much there from Akeem Ward. Free kick to Colorado Springs.
Fans, be sure to stop by the apparel booths on the concourses. Special edition playoff gear is available while supplies last.
Team O'Connor Ward just coming high, stepping through. Jairo Enriquez, this is footing a little bit. It's a little bad for the defender, to be honest. Stands tall, there is contact, but the momentum, that's the argument here from Akeem O'Connor Ward, is that Jairo Enriquez starts to lean into it. I don't blame him for it. I'd be making the exact same argument. Stood your ground tall. You hold position, you go straight up, and you don't have an issue. That's a problem, though. That's a card.
And Tyler Derrick really feeling the effects of that one. Elvis Amo going in really hard for that. Maybe a bit unnecessarily, as that was well into the hands of Derrick.
This could be red. I'm telling you, it's that late. The goalkeeper certainly has the right to this ball. Now, I understand that he's outside the 6. It's higher. I'm sure people in Colorado Springs aren't going to be happy to hear this, but it's reckless. He hits him right in the head with his knee. Thought he was going to lead with his ankle, but he actually comes high with his knee, catches him right across the temple.
So Elvis Amo into the book. Here's another look.
Again, I don't know why he doesn't lead with his foot. You lead with your foot, you have an opportunity to actually get to it. What's weird is it's almost like he's caught in the half space of, am I trying to go into the tackle or am I going to pull out of it? That hesitation causes him to carry momentum right into the goalkeeper. Doesn't fully pull out of it. Certainly a cause for concern is Tyler Derrick still on the ground.
This caution sponsored by Diversus Health, mental health and well-being for all. But take a moment to breathe. Well, the keeper on the bench is Colin Miller. It's been a decent rotation between all three goalkeepers on the roster. Javier Garcia and Colin Miller have both started 6 games, but of course it has been Tyler Derrick who has gotten the lion's share of the load so far this season.
He's really experienced everything, Tyler Derrick. The come up for his professional career, finally back on track, but he's always been at the top of many talking points within the United States soccer landscape. North Carolina Tar Heel back in 2007 carried less than a goal a game average, 0.94. All ACC freshman team. The reason I'm going back 15 years is because he was great then. In 2007 with those great Tar Heel teams, he's the second ever MLS homegrown behind Tristan Bowen from the LA Galaxy. Came through the academy. They wanted him to be the #1 for a long period of time. He was within that organization. Now, there were some off the field things that started to send his career awry, but he certainly worked himself back into favor in the USL Championship under Wilma Cabrera. Goal against last year, 4 shutouts through 14 appearances, and it's funneled over this season as well. And you're just looking at him. This is a dangerous challenge on the goalkeeper. It's not reckless in the sense of negative intent by Elvis Amo, but it's still a bad challenge. And in this day and age, everything that we know about concussion protocols, the things that you see across the landscape of any sport, Josh, you have to be oh so careful. And certainly from those pictures, Tyler Derrick feeling the effect.
Well, it looked like the trainer did the universal sign for a substitution. This is really a blow for RGV if Derrick is not able to continue. It does look like they will be making a change here, as it will be Colin Miller getting set to come on. Has started 6 games this year, the former Loudoun United man. While we wait for the sub, another update from Al Lang Stadium in St. Pete. And how about the Tampa Bay Rowdies? They have added a 3rd against Miami FC.
A little trickery from the corner. Set piece, Dayon Harris. Nicky Law, the little layoff. It's not the greatest of balls in, to be fair, but it's an abysmal clearance. Uncharacteristic for the stout defensive squad of Miami FC to spill this on the doorstep to allow El Capitan, Sebek Wanzadi, to bag his 2nd of the night on absolute fire, coming down the stretch and at the start of these USL Championship playoffs.
Not a sight you want to see, as Tyler Derrick being helped off the field. And it will be Colin Miller who comes on, and this will be a concussion substitution, so it will not affect those 3 windows with the 5 subs, but that also means Colorado Springs will get an extra sub as well. The substitution brought to you by the William J. Hibble Sports Medicine Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org. So Miller comes on, spent the first 2 years of his professional career with Loudoun United, made 10 appearances in 2019 and 2020. This is his 2nd year with RGV. He made 8 appearances last year, has started 6 games this year, and now comes in probably one of the biggest games of his professional career thus far. Play restarted here. RGV will start it at the back. It's always got to be difficult when Of course, your teammate is down for that amount of time and then has to come off the field. And the mental state of RGV is at, and another whistle, and this will be a free kick for the Switchbacks as Zach Zandy has to pick himself off the turf.
Fans, make sure to stick around after the match. It's time to watch the fireworks show.
Josh, friendly reminder about Colin Miller, though, is that he has seen it, right? He knows what it takes to go and get results. He's teetered back and forth in the mindset of Wilmer Cabrera for the 1 overall. He was the starting goalkeeper in that upset victory last year. Penalties against Phoenix Rising. Hostile environments, altitude, desert, doesn't matter for him. He can get the job done. How quickly can you step up to the speed of this game, though? It's been back and forth for sure. Certainly a ton of ball movement, the directivity of play. One end to the other, just like this. Ball's up over the top, go win the 50-50. And then who can bring it down and attack the quickest? That's the MO here so far tonight.
Hasn't played since May. His last appearance, the 2-1 win over San Diego Loyal back in late May. We'll see how he can get up to speed in this playoff match. 10 minutes to go until halftime, but expecting a big number for stoppage time. Long switch of play. Ricketts making the run. Hodge there to cut it out. There was a good tempo to this game there before the injury, and curious to see how we'll carry on from here. It's a Mo right through the legs of Fieldberg, and a Mo carries on. Now Galena, his first touch let him down. A Mo went down at the top of the area away from the ball. Referee waves it away, and Ricketts gets caught now. Galena. Looked like there's a bit of a jersey pull, but Zandy carries on. Zandy's cross, stabbed away there by Akwe.
What I would tell you, Josh, is it's twofold right now for RGV defensively. They are giving up space on the inside, and the balls are coming out. But immediately, when it comes to the outside, there's no supporting runs coming up underneath. Maka King and Cam Lindley are either A, too slow to react, or B, have too much ground to cover, because guys like Zach Zandy, Elma Samo, and Misha Galena are separating themselves so quickly. So as they come off of this defensive shape, they're getting caught a lot in 2v3s, 3v4s against the back line, which the numbers are favoriting RGV. They're not gambling a lot with their outside backs. They are pushing high, but as they drop in, Juan David Cabeza is doing a really good job. I've given this analogy before within this system, that he plays a lot like Edson Alvarez does. It's just, if you watch that role, he sits right in front of the back line, plays as the 6. It allows you to invert into a 3, get your outside backs really high, almost in wing-back-like roles, but still maintain a quality flat defensive composition. If you can slow the attack down on one side, that enables you to immediately drop into a 5.
I think if you were a coach, that'd be the system you would play.
No.
No?
No, there's no player good enough that would make me happy in that spot. I love the system. It just, it puts a lot of responsibility on one individual. You know, I mentioned Edson Alvarez. He can get away with it because Eltree, Ajax, the list goes on, right? I like it when you can miss a spot or make a mistake and you have the ability to recover a bit further. If you get that spot wrong, you got a problem.
It's a set piece upcoming, but some words being exchanged. These two teams just met about a month ago. It was a 1-0 win for RGV at home. That game was on September 17th.
right at the top of the 18. Little elbow here. Hands up, hands down. There's not a ton there. I mean, the shove comes from Akwe for sure. And then all of a sudden, yeah, see, he does it again. He's the aggressor. There's a little head-to-head there as well. I love Emilio Ikaza underneath when he leans up against Tristan Hodge. Watch your boy. Watch your boy. Gotta love it. You miss the culture. That's what we're calling it right now.
The culture?
Yeah, all the locker room banter and
Sure.
BS and sticking up for each other.
Fjellberg will take this. Didn't get it by the first man. Here's Ward. Enriquez right down the line. Couldn't keep it in play. I mentioned the 1-0 win for RGV. The last time these two teams met here in Colorado Springs, back on May 5th, a 3-2 win for the Switchbacks. It has been a long time since RGV has won here in Colorado Springs. You have to go back to 2017, the last time they did that. They also did it in 2016. Remember that year? They're second in the Western Conference. First year as a club under Wilmer Cabrera.
They've settled, though, much better in terms of possession. And if you notice, in terms of the line where they start, it's much higher on the field. A lot of times when they were stepping on the ball, Josh, they were right at the top of their 18. Now their starting point about 40 or 50 yards from goal. Higher lines give you the ability to be a bit more aggressive. Now, it does condense the field in certain areas, but it plays into their strengths. I still like the fact that even though the ideology behind this team over the last 10 games has been really direct, A to B, chase underneath, win the 50-50s, knock and reset, they're still very excellent in combination play, and they're showing you some of it right now. Now, don't have a lot of chances, especially on goal, to show for it. But I've been impressed with some of the ball movement through the middle. We mentioned Juan David Cabezas. Jonas Fjellberg is starting to get involved in the attacking play as well. Find some balance, though. Peen zone on the far side. Been a little bit quiet here. Got to find a way to get him involved in the attack as we continue to make friends as the game goes on.
We thought there could be a little bit of, I guess, getting to know each other throughout this game based on previous matches this year. Here's the latest.
Oh boy. Tony Award, maybe.
Tony? I thought it was Emmy.
You're never going to get an Oscar for that performance. Come on, son. I do like the fact, look who the two, look at Switzerland. Tristan Hodge and Emilio Ikaza on the scene again. Love them.
Switzerland.
And they start the war before it begins. No one's ever got beef with Switzerland.
Not wrong. Maybe come November. That one picked off. It's a Mo. Weren't able to win it right back. Kaza. Here's Ruiz. And now look at all this space for Mishi Galina to run into. Hodge there in support. Cross comes in. It's Ward who is pinching in to clear it away. Lindley now up to the far side. Jairo Enriquez blocked down. Ward got back into position and put the block in. Just the fourth shot of the game for the Switchbacks. One of them has found the frame of goal. King will come over now, maybe trying a long throw. Good depth on this. Akwe there to head it clear. King put himself back in play, absorbed contact. Zandy now to the back post and chested out of play. The ball may have gone out of play before it reached Ricketts, and it will be a goal kick.
Some of the decision making coming into the final third for Colorado Springs just escaping them right now. On the play just prior, good movement. As Misha Galina came high, it's two poor decisions. First of all is watch Zach Zandy. Cam Lindley stop, he sees the run, you should have come square. If you go square, either he, Cam Lindley, or Zach Zandy can step in, and then instead here, Jaiwan Enriquez, he's got too much time. Look at Anderson, top of the 18. Instead, you close off your angle, you're 2v1. It's the worst of the two choices that you could make in both situations where you couldn't even get a shot on target.
Touchdown wide again, it's Anderson. Ward put in another challenge. It's going to be 5 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by TikTok Shop. Mo again clatters into Wahab Akwe. Hodge, piercing ball in behind. Miller's off his line. Did very well there. Karam's outside the box, and he clears it away. That's much too far for Michael Edwards. Goal kick to RGV. That was the first big moment there for Colin Miller. And I think that's the first touch of the ball he's had with his hands, at least.
Good reaction on the backside too. Couldn't collect it all the way and able to step up, get his feet on it, and then clear the other side. That's twice now, by the way. Jonathan Ricketts getting turned around, having trouble with the speed change for Misha Galina. I'm surprised that with the variability that he has to stop and start on some of these attacks, that they haven't used that to their advantage more because of the way that they've pivoted on this right-hand side. Ricketts comes high. It does go back to the one-on-one nature that I talked about, though. Defensively, they've done so well in recovering situations. Or even as we're talking right now, it's still 3v3 because of Juan David Cabezas. So even though attacker sitting up high for Colorado Springs, you slow it down and allow those supporting runs to come back and help out.
Mo stepped in to win it back for the Switchbacks. Bit of a jersey pull, and Mark Allerton will bring this back, and was much too far away from the dead ball spot. There's 3 shots in this game for RGV. None of them have found the frame of goal.
They average right around 5 a game. That number is just north of 7 over the last 10 games. Gives you an idea of how good a form they've been in. Extra 2+ shots per game that's able to hit the target. Certainly ups the average, the conversion rate. As mentioned, coming in 7-2-1, best record in the USL Championship over the last 10 games, plus 15 goal differential. Seems like all the stars had aligned for RGV, certainly not at the start of this game with the chances that they gave up, and unfortunately the loss of their starting goalkeeper Tyler Derrick, though Colin Miller has stepped in nicely so far, and they've been on the ball a ton over the last 15 minutes or so. Great movement.
Here comes RGV forward again. Touched in field, it's Torres. Fieldberg trying to keep it. Ricketts came forward as well, and now it's Torres who takes the shot on. Drags it wide. There's some friendly fire there. It looked like Torres wanted the deflection on it. He won't get it.
Almost wondered myself if there had been a deflection on the backside of this. Fieldberg, even though he's not able to get a shot off here, he does enable himself to keep the play alive. Again, they haven't had their attacking pieces on the ball enough. Juan Pablo Torres not happy, felt like there was a touch on the backside of things, but he, Fieldberg, Emilio Icaza, Pinzon, Ricky Ruiz, we haven't called their names enough within this game. So even with all the possession, even with the shots, none of which, by the way, have been able to hit the target, there haven't really been any dangerous chances so far for the Toros today. It's something that on the road, Wilmer Cabrera feels like they have something extra special recently. Certainly better than their form at HEB Park.
Well, there is the whistle, and the first half has come and gone. Nothing to split these two sides after 45 minutes, but still plenty of talking points.
The movement for RGV just has to be better in the final third. That's simple. They've settled themselves within the game, good disposition on the ball, a calming presence about them. But when they get about 30, 35 yards, they lack the visionary to step up and help push them through. You got to go beat somebody, drag players with you. If you're Colorado Springs, you are now playing the game that RGV want you to. It's long ball, it's chase. You have to revert back to the beginning of the half, put the ball on the deck, find some of your guys' feet, and work in tandem off of each other. They've gotten away from what they were successful at the beginning of this game.
So we have reached halftime from Colorado Springs and Widener Field. This Western Conference quarterfinal, scoreless at halftime, will take you around the playoffs in the USL Championship. Halftime from Widener Field.
We've all heard the phrase before, the mountains are calling. Well, these mountains are screaming. That's what gets me out here in the pool every day. They energize me, even when I'm not feeling it. In fact, they energize our whole family. We have done so much more outside in Colorado, hiking, biking, swimming, fishing, skiing, you name it, and we owe it to the mountains. They literally take your breath away.
Watch Scott Kilberry on Fox 21 Local News, weeknights at 5, 6:30, 9, and 10.
Join Fox 21 and SoCo CW as we celebrate our veterans at the 22nd Annual Veterans Day Parade in downtown Colorado Springs on Saturday, November 5th at 10 a.m. This year's theme, Serving the Forces for Mission Success, will honor our veterans for their service with military and high school bands, military and veteran organizations, junior ROTC units, equestrians, and more down Tejon from St. Ferain to Vermejo. For more information, visit cosvetsparade.org.
We are Southern Colorado.
Saturday during the summers was our get up and go to Monument Lake fishing. From a little hobby as an 11-year-old kid, it's turned into quite a business.
Our stories matter.
If they're on the trails, if they're in the woods, if they're anywhere, I can be with them now.
Bringing you the most local news.
All of the people that are doing this type of agriculture are trying to do a better thing for society.
We are Fox 21, and together we are Southern Colorado.
I moved here about 8 years ago to join the Fox 21 News team. I thought I'd only be here for a couple of years, but I absolutely fell in love with Southern Colorado. I also fell in love with a Pueblo boy when I was interviewing him about his food truck. Now we're married, we have this little girl, and my parents actually owned a restaurant in Arkansas, a catfish restaurant, so it's exciting that my daughter gets to grow up in a restaurant too, in her daddy's kitchen in Pueblo.
Yeah. Watch Taylor Bishop, weeknights at 5, 6:30, 9, and 10.
Halftime from Widener Field in Colorado Springs, 45 minutes in the books. Halftime is brought to you by Phil Long. Of course, the Western Conference is now in full go. The USL playoffs presented by Hisense. This is the first game, and still 2 more games to come. Sacramento, New Mexico will be tonight. San Diego, Oakland tomorrow.
It'll be exciting. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Of course, the bye for San Antonio. We're all looking at, okay, who wins this game, but then that affects the next game. It's difficult even for teams that have advanced to show who they're going to play because we just don't know yet. So although this is the first in the Western Conference, still plenty to play for. How about in the East? The Tampa Bay Rowdies currently leading Miami FC 3-1. Again, we know they're going to move on. The question is, who are they going to play? Memphis and Detroit still knotted up at zeros. We've got the 4-5 matchup and the home game that was supposed to be in 2021 that is now making its way to Sunday between Birmingham Legion and Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
The only game that has not kicked off tonight, Sacramento, New Mexico, when they played in the regular season. A 0-0 draw in May in Sacramento, and a 2-1 win to Sacramento in August in New Mexico.
Everybody knows about Sacramento Republic and their Open Cup run, but what I look at that for them is their ability to step up when it matters most, because they've played very impressively against playoff teams. New Mexico United, on the other hand, they're searching. They're searching for what they are supposed to be in terms of character. 12 draws, that's second most in the USL. Oakland only have more at 13. Least amount of shutouts for a team entering the playoffs. They've got tied for 12th in goals, 3rd in shots, 8th in conversion rate. What I'm getting at is this team is kind of middle of the road, and yet they've still got tons of talent to knock it out of the park and get the upset victory.
Birmingham and Pittsburgh tomorrow. Both these teams won their home games against each other this year.
Cue Enzo Martinez and say hello to Bob Lilly. But I want the Bob Lilly of the Rochester Raging Rhinos earlier on in his career, not what he's done under the Pittsburgh Riverhounds as of late. Since he's come to the Riverhounds, he's 1 in 4 in playoff games. They only won back-to-back games. Guess what? Never. The only time they won a playoff game was in 2019. Now they have been the big brother in this situation. However, Birmingham Legion have turned a corner. MVP candidate Enzo Martinez, the back line, one of the best in the business. Matt Van Oekel playing nicely. I like the attacking front for Birmingham Legion at home.
San Diego and Oakland. San Diego has not beaten Oakland this year. A draw and then a 3-1 home loss to the Roots.
Extremely balanced, though. 31 points in the first 17 of the season, 29 in the second. I look at a team that attacking-wise, they're one of the best in the USL. We know that. 68 goals for that second, okay. But 51 goals against, that's tied for 13th worst. That's a problem. They're going to concede, and that's not a good look when you've got the attacking front three, especially with Otar Carlson in there. The 2 wingbacks that you get on the outside flying for the Oakland Roots and Eduardo Rito, and what you can do with that as you start to go in transition. But I look at this record versus playoff teams. I leaned a little bit on this for Sacramento Republic. These are the actual standings. Now, #1 overall is San Antonio in terms of points gained versus another playoff opponent. That's 39. What's interesting here is that tied for second is actually SAC and RGV at 23 points. You start to move down. Colorado Springs at 22. San Diego at 21. I digress. How about the Eastern Conference? Louisville reigns supreme in that area as well. But again, another little tweak. Birmingham is actually tied with Memphis for the 2 spot. Miami then comes in at the 4th spot at 22. So it's not a real talk of who 1 to 7 is really the best. How does it matter when you play teams that are good? We talked about that all season long. Now you get an idea of what it looks like.
Some El Salvador fans in the crowd tonight supporting Jairo Enriquez, the El Salvador International. Halftime brought to you by Phil Long. No score between the Switchbacks and RGV.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
U.S. goalkeeper Ethan Horvath's story began in the Mile High City.
I was born in Denver, Colorado, and I grew up in Highlands Ranch. Growing up, my dad was coach at Columbine High School, so I've been around the sport my whole life.
Ethan dazzled his hometown fans last summer against Mexico in the Nations League final, and he plans to make all of Denver proud once again this fall in Qatar.
The World Cup is where the whole country kind of stops and watches. We know what we can accomplish and what we can do as a team.
Halftime presented by Phil Long. No score between the Switchbacks and the Toros here at Widener Field. Great crowd on hand. News and notes and the USL playoffs update presented by Hisense Milwaukee. They'll join the league in 2025. One Knox SC, they'll be in League One next year. And a new home for Memphis was just announced. It should be open in time for 2025. The future looking bright across the USL. As for the scoreboard and what is going on around the USL Championship, of course, this game was the first one to start and the first one to be completed, and the Rowdies, they would take this one. It would be Grande to score the opener for Tampa Bay.
He's been amazing. Again, the tail end of the season. At the start of the year, let's go back for a second, they didn't have a 9. They had no way to score goals. So Leo Fernandez, he's the one who starts playing different positions, starts scoring goals, gets himself in MVP caliber form. They go up 1-0, but the response, Joaquin Rivas in the 55th minute. Yeah, but see, there's this guy, what's his name again? Nicky Law from Indy 11. He actually played with Neil Collins while Neil Collins unloaded Sheffield United. The two reunited at the Tampa Bay Rowdies. It's 2-1. We would see 4 goals in 20 minutes overall. That favor would be repaid by Grande in the 70th minute. Make it 3-1. They are on to the Eastern Conference Final just moments ago. Transitional play. Ball down in. Why not? 901 FC, Chris Allen, a 72nd minute goal. They've got the lead inside 20 minutes.
He came onto the field in the 61st minute for Dylan Borchak, who of course was acquired from RGV. And now a huge moment there for Chris Allen as Memphis, the upper hand, laid on at home. We will have the second half from Colorado Springs coming up next.
At Fox 21, we are Southern Colorado, and we love our beautiful fall weather. We look forward to the leaves changing, but we start to think about snow in the mountains for some skiing. We always have to keep our eye out for those fall blizzards. Remember 97? I'm Fox 21 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister, and I want to give you our commitment. We're not here to scare. We don't use gimmicks. We're here to help you prepare. We provide useful information you need in a way that respects your time and intelligence. The Fox 21 Storm Team, weather without the hype. It's different on TV when we have to cover 40% of the state in 2 or 3 minutes. On the weather app, we can focus on your neighborhood. So northern El Paso County, the story may be driving up to Denver and the travel conditions. The Tri-Lakes, we may be talking about the likelihood of getting more than 6 inches of snow. West side of El Paso County and Colorado Springs in the foothills, maybe it's a tough forecast. There's a gradient of snow. Woodland Park, we might be talking about the likelihood of getting more than a foot of snow. In contrast, the downslope of Pikes Peak in downtown Colorado Springs, maybe the story is, are we going to get 2 inches or 4 inches of snow? And farther to the south, lower elevation in Pueblo, it might be a wind story or the likelihood of getting any snow at all. And then heading south into the wet mountains, more terrain, we might be talking about a lot of snow. The point being, in the weather app, it's information for where you are. So scan the QR code, download the app. We may have 20 or 30 different videos up on the app, and you might see the 1 or 2 that are applicable to you. It's better than the default app on your phone because it's from the Fox 21 Storm Team here in Southern Colorado. The hourly forecast, 10-day forecast, Stormcast, it's all at your fingertips when you need it. And when we need to come knock on your door and tell you there's something important for you, it's right there. Download the Fox 21 Storm Team weather app today.
Tonight's honorary healthcare professional of the match is Christy Olson, Chief Operating Officer at Penrose Hospital. Thank you for all you've done to help our community. The healthcare professional of the match is co-sponsored by Encore Electric along with Olson Plumbing and Heating. So we are getting set for the second 45 minutes of action from Widener Field here in Colorado Springs. Conference quarterfinals in the Western Conference, the USL playoffs, presented by Hisense with Devin Kerr. I'm Josh Eastern. Thanks so much for being with us. Big talking point in the first 45 minutes has to be the injury to Tyler Derrick that forced him off the field. Colin Miller into goal, but not a whole lot of really tangible chances on either side, but something's got to give in this second half.
I'd say it was lack of decision-making for Colorado Springs on their side of things, and RGV, lack of the ability to break down the back line for Colorado Springs. More inventive as you start to move forwards and get into your attacking positions. Also, I would like to see a little bit more down the middle, only because they've lost the ability to attack from the exterior. Everything has basically started on the outside, and they're trying to move in. Whereas if you start in the middle and then start to push, you can open up more space, get runs in behind, get guys in from an aerial threat.
Here's Enriquez. Good ball forward. It's Galena, and it's saved. Colin Miller off the bench, and a big-time stop there.
Was just asking for someone to be more inventive for RGV, but watch the vision. Watch Jairo Enriquez. Beautifully taken off the head, and look, forward thinking the entire time. Off the outside of the right foot, just enough pace to get it out in front of Misha Galina. He's got to finish this. You have to get this around the goalkeeper. One-on-one, all that space. Spectacular save off the line for Colin Miller.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. The in-swinger is cleared away. It's taken back. Collision right in front of the referee. He allows it to play on. Anderson. Now it's a Mo. Anderson continues his run. Tries to cut this one back. And Mo was just shouldered off the ball there. Runs through for Miller. These first couple minutes have been quite exciting, and already a few talking points, including that big save from Miller.
I'd like to be clear when my statement of you got to finish that, it's not taking anything away for the save for Colin Miller. It's just the way that Misha Galina lines up against it. You've got the entirety of the goal to choose from, and instead you go right at him. Come across your body, open up your hips, pick out the far corner, put a little in-swinging English on the ball, and you're out in the front 1-0. Nice little 1-2 there.
In zone. Takes it off. There's a Kaza. Ward tries to cut it infield. Ruiz to the end line and in a side netting. Oh, we can tell you about a goal in Memphis. Remember, we showed you Chris Allen scored in the opener for 901. How about Matthews and the response for Detroit?
A deep line run, and everybody forgets about Z Matthews. All alone at the top of the 18. He had dropped down into midfield. You forget about the runner, just coasts right through that central location. Excellent first touch to enable him to get a second one. Not even a look at goal, to put it on frame and tie it up.
Floated to the back post, and that ball went past the end line. This is a perfect time for the picture-in-picture, the double box, pull up a tablet, pull up a laptop. Two great games on in the USL Championship playoffs tonight. So one more to come your way. Sacramento Republic hosting New Mexico United.
I was just about to say, if we time this right and they don't get their act together, either one of the teams in Memphis, you're going to have 3 on at once.
Yeah.
We get a try screen. Does that exist? Can you break a screen down into 3 separate games?
Yes.
Can you?
I've done it before.
Let's see how the production team feels about that. Let's start our Christmas wish list early.
Or Hanukkah wish list, either one.
Either or, yeah. Sorry, Josh. Well, in this day and age, it doesn't matter what holiday because they started and finished it before the actual date even comes, right?
This is true.
The Halloween stuff's already off the shelves, and I see the turkey staring me down.
Time on the ball for RGV as they look to build forward. Ikaza. Zone, 7 goals, 2 assists to his name this year. He get going in this second half. Akwe over the top. Really good job there by Tristan Hodge to usher this out for a goal kick. It's interesting when you look at Colorado Springs this year. They lost 13 games, and in those 13 losses, they were outscored 29-6. So when it was going well for them, it was going really well. When it was going bad, it was going pretty bad. And of course, some of that to do with personnel, injuries, you name it with this team. They've been through a lot. Brendan Burke said this team's been through the ringer this year, and they might be better for it now that they've still gotten into the playoffs, able to host that for this first round game. Now, can they take advantage of being at home? For RGV, a trendy upset pick. It felt like this week building up to this game. And plenty of bulletin board material for Brendan Burke and the Switchbacks as well. Oof. Kaza comes in, heavy challenge.
Think about the names that they lost as well. Colorado Springs. Maka King, 18 games. Issa Ryan, 6 games. Dennis Erdman, 12 games. Unfortunately, he's done for the season at this point in time. Ben Mines, rest of the season, right? On the injury report earlier this year, barely played whatsoever. Isaiah Foster, Zach Zandy, Malik Johnson, Matt Mahoney, Aaron Wheeler, Jimmy Ockford, Brett Halsey. Stop me, by the way. That right there, that's a starting 11 in the USL Championship.
Sure is.
For plenty of other teams. It is a testament to what Brendan Burke, Stevie Hogan, James Chambers, all of his coaching staff have been able to compile over the past 2 seasons. Really impressive. A massive turnaround from the 2020 team that, let's be fair, was abysmal. They were terrible. Now it's one of the teams that you really fear, especially on the attacking side, though defensively it seems to have gotten better as well. Anyone would love to have a Haji Berry and maybe a Misha Galina. Then it's Jairo Enriquez, Zach Zandy, Elvis Amo. The list can go on and on and on. They can really attack you from anywhere. Love Sebastian Anderson at the outside back spot, though he hasn't featured much within this game because of the way RGV is trying to attack with Pinzon on the left-hand side. Got to be very careful as he tracks and then comes back outside. Excellent balance by that man right there.
And through all of that this year for Colorado Springs, Brendan Burke said this team feels like they still should have been fighting for that second spot, and it was just maybe a bit too much to handle throughout the year, but finishing in 3rd, nothing to shake your head at.
Well, remember that too, and I'm not taking anything away from the teams around them, but that carrot was so far out in front of them towards the latter portion of the season, definitely by San Antonio, but even more so by San Diego as well, that you couldn't grasp it. And yet the rear view mirror, you couldn't even see a single team back there either. So you don't want to say that they didn't have anything to play for. They were very fortunate because of how good they were in the first half of the season. 36 points through the first 17 games, pretty impressive. And yet, how do you keep a team motivated? with COVID and all the injuries. I mean, remember the lineup that they rolled out against San Diego Loyal in that July game?
Yep. The second July game.
The second, bingo, the second one. Let's be very clear here. A difficult situation for any organization to handle, and yet, we talked about this in the first half, they're still able to finish 3rd overall in the Western Conference. I'm sure any manager would be happy to be in their shoes at this point in time.
Well, going back to the start of the season, we mentioned starting 11-2, and that was going to be them and San Antonio for those top 2 spots, and then Colorado Springs loses that home game to San Antonio, and that was, I guess, the start of the demise, if you want to call it that, through the month of July. They really battled through it. They have figured out how to put it together into that 3rd spot, and of course get to host this game tonight, but can they take advantage of that? This RGV side, as we mentioned coming in, hottest team in the league in the last 10 games, but as Wilmer Cabrera put it, we don't want to focus on the last 10 games because this is just one game. It all comes down to what we do in this game tonight. Kaza finds Ward. Ward's cross is too close to Caldwell.
We're starting to see this more and more, though. Emilio Icaza dropping a little bit deeper than Juan Pablo Torres. Good little 2v2 connection with Juan David Cabezas in the midfield, and Akeem Ward coming much higher on the left-hand side. Watch 29, Pinzon. He's starting to pinch further towards the interior, getting off of that left shoulder just underneath Ricky Ruiz. So although Icaza's coming under, Pinzon's coming over. Doesn't fully vacate that position, Icaza, but Pinzon almost helping on the 2v2 split, and then Ward comes high. Excellent ball movement by RGV on that last sequence.
Ricketts has to be very careful on that far side, already on a yellow card. Anderson touches this infield. Enriquez. Oh, it runs through for Anderson. He looks in field. Anderson! Locked down by Akwe. Now out of play for a throw-in. He'll buy himself a few more seconds to get back into position.
How do you not cut this ball back? How does this ball, watch Jairo Enriquez, as this ball comes down into the corner. 14, he plays it, but you gotta give him the ball back here. He is wide open at the top of the 8. Just inside the penalty mark, just outside the 6. 8 to 10 yards out. Again, decision-making in the final third has plagued this team in this game.
Lindley back for King. The back post, and the header looping over the bar. Miller was sprawling out for it, and it was Matt Mahoney who was the closest one there for Colorado Springs.
You go back to the Jairo Enriquez chance just before the header on the back post. As he receives this ball, just track him. So Anderson finds him. Now keep your eye on the ball carrier right now as he plays it off. Watch his run. Cut it now. Oh, he's got the world of time. Instead, you take one too many touches for Sebastian Anderson. And as it comes back across, great defensive recovery. Matt Mahoney, this is a difficult one. As he drifts off, the body's high in front of him. It's not timed very well by Colin Miller. But if you're Matt Mahoney, your vision is clouded. You don't have a clear view as to try and attack this thing. At least you can get a paw out in front of the vision.
long switch of play, just too far out in front of Ricketts.
Good food, good vibes for a free drink before or after each game. Flash your Switchbacks e-ticket or coin to a bartender or server at Streetcar 520. Valid game days only.
Don't worry, Ricketts. You can blame the goal. You want to give it back to yourself.
Another throw in here to RGV. They take it quickly. And Kaza, the long sleeves and the gloves on. Not in Texas anymore, Devin. Although it is a comfortable night. It started off in the 60s. You know, it drops quickly as night comes here in the Rocky Mountains. But we have another update from Memphis, Tennessee. Malloy starts it, and then it's Jeremy Kelly to find Graham Smith. And could that be a winner for 901 FC?
And they've now moved into the 90th minute, so just a few precious moments left for Detroit City to get back into it. That's the 10th assist on the year for Jeremy Kelly. Second, next to guys like Kennardo Forbes, his teammate Aaron Malloy, trailing only Antoine Opino, who, by the way, from what we're hearing, was pretty impressive within that game. But right now, as they've needed to all season long, some late game dramatics for Trevor James and his boys to get back into it.
And if it stands that way, it will be Memphis hosting Tampa Bay. That would be next week.
God,
what
how's
a
that
game
for a match?
What a game. Touch on it by Anderson will put this out of play, and that means then tomorrow's Birmingham-Pittsburgh game will be a winner goes to Louisville.
I'm assuming we can't call out of work because they're going to know where we are in the excuse, right?
That's
a fun little road trip. Me and you going to Memphis?
Let's go.
I don't know if they're ready for that.
I've never been.
Really?
Never been.
Oh.
How about Tennessee? 3 teams in the USL Championship or no, 4, I'm sorry.
Carry the one.
Yeah. Well,
I'm the one that's supposed to struggle with math,
no,
my
I'm
friend.
sorry. I was just, yeah. We're all there now. Here's King. Fieldberg. All the way back to Miller, who goes over the top. A hopeful ball, and this does come off. Pinzon keeps it alive. Couldn't get in behind Mahoney. Lindley carries it forward. Long switch, and he can't find Galena. Seems both these teams just searching at the moment.
I'm surprised Cam Lindley forcing some of these balls in. He's so good from those deep line positions about pinging those 40, 50-yard balls, linking up with some of the trailing runs, but it's almost, to your point, within the search, forcing a lot of the balls up over the top as opposed to maintaining possession. I talked earlier about the influential role of David Cabezas as he carries the ball off the back line right now. There's no true vision as to what point they're looking to attack. Shape is convoluted, space is clouded. Both teams doing a good job defensively of maintaining their marks and passing. If you just watch the wandering eye to the next pass, you look at the ball carrier, but everybody, the shifting, very impressive right now. The side to side, closing down their marks quite rapidly.
Ward, that's a foul. Free kick going Colorado Springs' way. And we can give you another update from Memphis. And Devin, what kind of dip would you like with this chip? Here you go.
Oh, Philip Goodrum. How's that for an exclamation point? X marks the spot. From about 60 yards out, Goodrum, 22nd goal of the season, was one shy of the Golden Boot in the regular season. Milanowski in Orange County, but that is some kind of move he puts on the ball that has now gone final 3-1 for both 901 FC and the Tampa Bay Rowdies, who will officially face off against each other in the Eastern Conference semifinal next weekend.
It's a heck of a game next weekend in Memphis. Now this is the lone game going on for the next probably 5 minutes until Sacramento and New Mexico United kick off at Heart Health Park in Sacramento. But here's Pinzon. Ward can bring it in.
Coach looks great tonight thanks to Gentleman's Choice Tuxedos for dressing in for the match.
Expected goals in this game for Colorado Springs, 0.9. For RGV, 0.09 as Akaza tries to get it by Caldwell. That's the first shot on target of the night for the Toros.
This is how quick they can strike. They go win the 50-50 ball and then immediately 100 miles an hour the other direction. Well done. Love the challenge. Goes straight up here. No foul whatsoever by Pimentel. Look at the English. You don't have the ability, as the ball's coming across your body, Josh, you can't get square up on it with your laces. So you have to catch some of it with your instep. But good news for Akaza, because it actually moves it away from the positioning of Jeff Caldwell. Good save to the bottom corner.
Enriquez got that one all wrong.
The world is your wine bar with 90+ sellers. Grab your favorite 90+ sellers wine in any of our club spaces or at a retailer near you.
Colorado Springs been in the playoffs. Now this is their 4th appearance. They have not won a game since 2015, beating Sounders 2 in that go-around. It's their first home playoff game since 2016 as well. This game just waiting for somebody to take control of it, it seems. Colorado Springs started out with a flurry in the first part of this second half. Not too much to write home about in the first 45 minutes. Kaza, now it's Mecca King. Too far for Hodge. Now is this something where substitutes can come on and help figure this out, or are these 22 have to figure it out themselves?
And the level that we've seen from both of these teams, I don't necessarily want to make a change. The problem is both of these managers are looking for someone to go win it for them, right? Nobody's really stepping up. I mean, Ricky Ruiz is non-existent within the game. That's not a knock on him. It's a testament to the defending that's being put forth by the Switchbacks, the space centrally being locked down, and that's a good look at him right now. He's just wedged in between the back line and Cam Lindley. Mecca King creates this little separation within the triangle, so you have no avenue to get it into your 9, so everything that's going side to side, you go high, you work off the back line. Even when you start to combine through the middle, the rare ball that finds Juan Pablo Torres or Emilio Icaza, they don't have the ability to turn and then link up with the striker. So do you now change it? Do you maybe look at someone like a Frank Lopez who can help you stretch the game there a little bit? I don't see them going towards Ollie Wright unless you want to push Pinzon up into the 9, which you can do, and we've seen that before. Frank Lopez started last time out. He will definitely give you fresh legs. That's at least the argument for RGV. If I'm Brendan Burke&Co, I'm not changing a thing right now. Aaron Wheeler gives you a good look, but all due respect to him, the quality that he possesses at 34 years of age, just a little bit different now. Experience for sure. He's got a calmness about him. And certainly the point man We showcased that in the open, in the ahead of the curve segment, about how different it looks compared to Hadji Barry, who comes down in deep, gives you more combination play, and then the speed, as opposed to someone like a Wheeler or a Belmar. You try and play into him more frequently.
Quick passing, cut out by Akwe.
Oof.
Anderson shouldered off the ball. This is a free kick to Colorado Springs. Cabezas does not think so.
It's hard to believe in this day and age that arm away from the body from behind is still a foul. The argument from Cabezas is the fact that he feels like his shoulder gets down and underneath. When you come from a restricted position, you use your physical presence to get into that spot. Still a no-no, according to IFAB.
And Lindley standing over this by himself. Leader in chances created in the USL Championship this year. 20 minutes to go. This one curled in and over everybody's head, including the goalkeeper.
Switchbacks now entering the game, number 13, Stevie.
And a substitution coming here for Brendan Burke in Colorado Springs. It is Steven Echeverria coming on to replace Maka King. The substitution brought to you by the William J. Hibble Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hibblecenter.org.
He was good on the ball, nice and clean. Anytime you can look back, and whether it's a holding midfielder or one of your defenders, and you haven't had to mention him because of his inability to find some of the guys moving forward or link up play, that's always nice. Not surprised with the central change. Also wonder if maybe he moves one of the outside backs here for fresh legs. Looks at someone like an Isaiah Foster, though the moment maybe a little bit too big for that young man. Just 19 years of age, which he hit in August of this year. Bright future ahead for the Maryland native.
Chance for switchbacks here. Akwe goes to ground. It's Ricketts who steps in. Switchbacks able to win it right back. Hodge looking. Fieldberg coming from behind. Hodge looking for a whistle. It never came. Here's Ruiz. Running right at Anderson. That's behind the intended target. Now this game really starting to open up. It's Hodge. Galena. Echeverria asking for it. The return ball, Galena at the end line, cuts it back! And Ward puts it out for a corner kick.
How many times are you gonna get opportunities inside the top of the 18 and not finish them off? Everybody just stops here. All of the hard work has been done. Substitute finds the trailing run, nobody's moving. Elvisimo, Jairo Enriquez, neither one breaking down into the box. Great movement on the combination between Galena and the substitute Echeverria, but you've got to continue the run going forward if you're one of the other two attackers.
This corner kick brought to you by T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence. Zandy curls it in, bounces in the 6-yard box, and it's cleared away. Hodge. Galena. Galena, the in-swinger, it's a Mo. It's looping towards the end line. And the whistle will stop play. And a substitution coming for RGV. This is the end of the night for Jonas Fieldberg. It will be Frank Lopez coming on. This substitution brought to you by the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hybelcenter.org.
Now you pivot, Ricky. Ruiz out to that right-hand flank, an opportunity. I'd like to see he and Jonathan Ricketts get together. As this game goes on, that's a lethal combination, and Frank Lopez could be a menace to that back line. He will chase and push and plunder up on that attacking unit for RGV. We've seen so much out of the Cuban native for so long. San Antonio, Sacramento, OKC. Double-digit goals at multiple locations. The LA Galaxy organization saw a lot within that young man, and so have multiple USL Championship teams. Let's see if Wilmer Cabrera can dig down into the Well of Souls and pull something out of that magic hat.
See 484 total shots this year. It's about 14 a game. They only have 5 so far tonight to RGV. And Anderson looking for the space on the far side. Akwe was there, just able to regain his balance and keep it for the Toros. Into the final 15 minutes. Something here in regulation. Hodge couldn't keep it. It's Ruiz. Can he turn the corner? Shoulder to shoulder with Lindley. It's a throw into Colorado Springs.
We'd like to thank our Western Conference quarterfinal sponsor, Phil Drive Colorado.
Remember, if this result holds, extra time would be coming. Games so far tonight finishing in regulation. Cabezas. Ikaza. Cabezas on the overlap. He'll keep this in play and he'll win a corner kick. It's the first corner kick of the night for RGV.
Switchbacks have entering the game, number 21, Aaron.
And it will be Aaron Wheeler coming into the game. And that is the end of the night for Elvis Amo. This substitution brought to you by the William J. Hybl Sports Medicine and Performance Center. Learn more at hybelcenter.org.
Give you 15 to 20 minutes, and you're going to have to play off. I mean, change the game a little bit here. As you push further on, can you lean on the veterans' experience? Aaron Wheeler at 34 years of age certainly has that.
In swinger, over everybody's head and bouncing out of play.
How many chances did you need if you were Elvis Amo, whether you were making the runs or not? Certainly had a couple tonight, and unfortunately for Brendan Burke, just couldn't get on the end of anything. Very active, couple of opportunities, and yet nothing to show for it. None of the matchups between these two that has seen 15 so far have ever ended in a 0-0 draw. Little fireworks down the stretch, Josh.
You know I'm here for it. Remember, if this game does go to extra time, an extra substitution and a window will be allowed. So because of the concussion substitution, technically everybody on each bench could come into play tonight. Throw-in going Switchbacks way.
That's a foul. Thank you.
Now the referee comes in and it will be a foul.
Let's call a spade a spade. This ball, throw-in.
It's their possession anyway.
It's ridiculous. It's getting a little out of hand at this point in time. Let's settle the game back down. Some questionable decisions right now, and the players are starting to get emotionally frustrated. I don't blame them. There's that challenge right there. You and I looked at each other at the challenge on the RGV player on the far side of the field that ended up as a throw-in for switchbacks. Reel the game in a little bit here.
Enriquez. Early ball trying to find the run of Galena. Again, it's Akwe who's there. He's played a massive game in central defense. Ikaza. It's Lopez. Trying to make an impact off the bench tonight. That's a foul.
Fans, be sure to stop by the concessions and enjoy some great specialty playoff food and our hot dog of the game on Michi Munchie Nacho Box as well.
It's always brought up, no matter who comes into Colorado Springs or into altitude. It's always a talking point. And if this game does go the extra 30 minutes, fitness, no doubt, will come into play.
This is the other thing that RGV are so great at, is they get down in, and even without the lead, they're going to squeeze the life out of this game. You bunker down in, you only take chances when you absolutely feel you have the advantage without exposing yourself.
It forward for Zandy. Couldn't keep it. Anderson dancing on the ball. This will run out of play for a goal kick, but we were talking to Brendan Burke about it. He thought that maybe RGV was suited to play in the altitude just because of the way they like to play. And to your point, maybe if they're bunkering in a little bit, they'll save some of that energy.
You got to slow it down a little bit, right? You can't chase for this long against this team on the road and expect to get a result. And yet, 81 minutes in, RGV at times have looked the better of the two teams. Certainly at the end of the tail end of the first half, tons of possession. Colorado Springs, though, the flurry, Josh, that we saw right at the start of the second half. All of those chances, though, and nothing to show for it. I leaned into our producer around the 75th minute when that ball did not get cut back across, and I said, Colorado Springs got to lose this game if they're not real careful, because they've certainly had the better of the chances. Quality, though lacking overall, within the final 20 to 30 yards.
Substitution coming for RGV. See, Francisco Torres will replace Juan Pablo Torres.
Substitution is sponsored by the William J. Henry Sportsman.
He knows a little bit about this venue. Colorado Springs last season, 27 appearances overall for the former full international from the United States. Of course, it's been a little bit of time, the better portion of a decade, 2013. The last time that he donned the stars and stripes. An incredible player for sure. Extremely talented anywhere that you want to play him within the center of the park.
Here's Galena. Galena's shot is right at Miller. I'm hearing there was a yellow card given to somebody on the bench for RGV. Galena trying to make it happen. Not been able to beat Colin Miller tonight. On the line, Ward. Doesn't look like he kept that in play. Hodge, searching ball forward. Henriquez is there, and he scores! Switchbacks who celebrate and lead 1-0 late on.
No Haji Berry, who was going to step up? We gave you the three-headed monster, but this could be your savior. All night long balls, combination, you name it. They've asked plenty of questions, but could not complete the execution. Aaron Wheeler occupies the center back. This enables the ball up over the top. For Jairo Enriquez, he's the back post run. It's the cut in that causes concern. Did it come up off the hand? That angle looks like no. As he comes diagonally back across, it's very difficult for Akeem O'Connor-Ward to track him with the pace and transition. He's also looking at Aaron Wheeler. I'll tell you this, if it hits his hand, it's right up against the body. That's the only thing I will say. The right arm is up against the torso. Great job by the substitute, Aaron Wheeler, holding up one run and letting the second come back through to give them the go-ahead goal.
Well, finally, the Switchbacks able to break through. A huge moment from Enriquez. It's his 4th goal of the year. The El Salvador international. Was a substitution for Colorado Springs. Isaiah Foster coming on for Zach Zandy. William J. Hibble, Sports Medicine and Performance Center substitution. Over the top, looking for Lopez. This will run out of play.
Josh, I want to give you one more look at this. You looked at me and you think it hits his hand. I'm saying it's too close to call, and even, because look, right there, I don't see anything. The other angle, you can see something of a deflection right here. See, that's, to me, that's right near his, almost his underarm. And again,
it's tough to tell.
It's tough to tell. And again, I go back to the fact, even if it does hit his hand, it's a natural motion next to the body. It's not in an unnatural position.
But does that matter if it leads to a goal-scoring opportunity?
Well, in this day and age, who freaking knows anymore,
Correct.
Right? It's ridiculous.
I forget where we're at now with the rule.
Yeah, exactly. But let's go back. I want to tell you about the positive one more time. This run, the diagonal run, is beautiful. I have to say, even when it's pinged up over the top, not necessarily sure it's meant for Jairo Enriquez because Aaron Wheeler is actually on the trailing run as well. But I said to you coming in, he's going to give you that hold-up play. The experience, he will calm the game down. He will give you the ability to be the point man. They're trying to play into him. And either way, whether it's for Wheeler or for Jairo Enriquez, that run underneath. No Berry. Could it be a Mo? Could it be Galena? Most certainly, with a couple of minutes to go, it's Jairo Enriquez.
This over the top. Edwards all the way back to Caldwell, who gets this out of harm's way. Was a substitution as well for RGV. Robert Coronado has come on for Akeem Ward, a William J. Hibble Sports Medicine and Performance Center substitution.
Got to move higher, got to move faster. It's the one thing that has plagued this team in the second half is, even though they've been very clean on the ball, they've slowed the pace of play down to a halt. And it's really enabled Colorado Springs to get behind the ball more frequently, more fluidly, I should say as well. Defensively, the recovery runs have been brilliant from both teams all night long. But here in the second half, RGV haven't done themselves any favors. Watch out.
And now can the Switchbacks put this away? Galena cuts it into the middle. It's Wheeler to finish this off. 2 late goals for Colorado Springs, and they will be moving on to the next round.
It's going to happen when you move this many players this high, Josh. You're so late in the game, searching for an equalizer. You're going to expose yourself to space, but you have to take chances. Coronado had come high, the rotation back over. Ackway can't get there. Galena's too fleet of foot. No man in the USL Championship is going to win that race in a one-on-one situation. All the real estate, and finally, we've been asking for it all night long. The ball comes square back across. Aaron Wheeler, the midseason acquisition that Brendan Burke said he wanted and the team needed. This guy hadn't been on the field in 5 seasons. Harrisburg City of 2017. You bring him in, experience, leadership, now goals and assists. Combination of 5 in his last 19. And certainly the cherry on top for this team.
We are into 3 minutes of stoppage time, brought to you by TikTok Shop. Colorado Springs, you know the goals were in there somewhere, and they have been able to find 2 late ones in these last 15 minutes. And now I'm sure the Switchbacks become big Oakland Roots fans, because if Oakland is able to beat San Diego, they will have a home game. Just taking this as far away from goal as possible. Looking for their first ever win in the playoffs since 2015. A loss in 2016 to Vancouver Whitecaps too. A loss last year, the eventual champions in Orange County. Coronado cuts this into the middle. It's Emilio Acaza, the extra pass. And this one's cut out. Just hasn't quite been there in the attacking third for RGV. Galena, is there a third in this for Colorado Springs? Challenge put in, referee deems it clean, but Galena is still down. Pinzon, long switch of play into the final minute. Cleared away. Switchbacks is trying to hold possession now for 40 more seconds. There's a foul as Anderson goes down. And that might see us to the finish line tonight. Fans celebrating this one tonight. Wheeler, is there one more? Aaron Wheeler! Wheeler scores! There's the exclamation mark for Colorado Springs. Surely moving on. The Switchbacks will celebrate.
They took it personal, this one. They didn't like the comments coming from RGV after the last victory. They felt disrespected. They said, don't worry, plenty of bulletin board material, plenty of naysayers, and all the white noise that we need in order to propel ourselves to victory. You've gotten your playmakers out of Cam Lindley. You've gotten the attackers in Misha Galina and Jairo Enriquez. And now you've got one of the biggest leaders within that locker room who's gotten a brace, he's gotten a victory, and they've moved themselves into the Western Conference semifinals.
There is the whistle, full time. Brendan Burke and the Switchbacks moving on to the Western Conference semifinals. Enriquez and Wheeler, the goal scorers. And Aaron Wheeler, he scored 2 goals in the regular season. He scores 2 goals tonight. And the Switchbacks are moving on. It's time for the critical moment of the match, brought to you by Centura Health. And it has to be the first goal of the night, the one that broke the deadlock.
Everybody wanted to talk about a handball in the back line for RGV, but it comes off the chest. At least it looks like it does. Into the path of the oncoming runner. Good little step forward. Continues his run. Love the diagonal. Love the touch. Love the finish. And Jairo Enriquez loves the feeling of getting that first goal of the night. Colorado Springs goes on to 3. It's not the regular season. We don't need to call it 3 points. Just 3 goals. 4 for Enriquez on the year. 2 for Aaron Wheeler tonight, but none so sweet. That's the single victory to move them on in the USL Championship playoffs.
And there is our Better Business Bureau man of the match. It is Aaron Wheeler. 2 goals coming off the bench, hugs all around. You can read verified customer reviews and check business ratings at bbb.org. Fireworks going off tonight here at Widener Field as the Switchbacks are moving on to the Western Conference semifinals. We'll come back and break it all down. It finishes Colorado Springs 3, RGV 0. Stay with us.
We've all heard the phrase before, the mountains are calling. Well, these mountains are screaming. That's what gets me out here in the pool every day. They energize me, even when I'm not feeling it. In fact, they energize our whole family. We have done so much more outside in Colorado, hiking, biking, swimming, fishing, skiing, you name it, and we owe it to the mountains. They literally take your breath away.
Watch Scott Kilberry on Fox 21 Local News, weeknights at 5, 6:30, 9, and 10.
Hi, I'm Fox 21 Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister. This is the Chick-fil-A Cow. I have a unique and fun way that you can support the kids of our fallen military and first responders. It's the Chick-fil-A Garden of the Gods Skate for Chicken event to benefit Angels of America's Fallen on Saturday, October 29th. You could win free Chick-fil-A for a whole year. Go to fox21news.com to sign up and help support our community.
Join Fox 21 and SoCo CW as we celebrate our veterans at the 22nd Annual Veterans Day Parade in downtown Colorado Springs on Saturday, November 5th at 10 a.m. This year's theme, Serving the Forces for Mission Success, will honor our veterans for their service with military and high school bands, military and veteran organizations, junior ROTC units, equestrians, and more down Tejon from St. Vrain to Vermejo. For more information, visit cosvetsparade.org.
Back to wrap things up from Widener Field. The Switchbacks put up 3 late goals and take down RGV. This could be the last game here at Widener Field for Colorado Springs this year. We'll see how all the results shake out across the weekend. Full-time highlights, Switchbacks RGV will start in the 84th minute. We had to wait this long for the first goal.
It took 13 shots and it took 4 on frame before we got to this point. 84th minute, love this ball. Just dink it up over the top, try and catch a runner underneath. Heider Enriquez gets onto it again. I still go back to the fact that when Tristan Hodge hits this ball, he could be looking at Aaron Wheeler. Either way, two-pronged attack, one goal. Colorado Springs up 1-0.
90th minute, and the man off the bench, Aaron Wheeler. He would find the second goal.
How's the vision, by the way, for Cam Lindley to slow this thing down? I was asking RGV to speed it up, but Lindley knows even though he's the leading chance creator in USL Championship, he's got to find a way to get some support. Enter Misha Galina, great overlapping run. He then does what we asked all night long. Play this thing, square back across, and you've got yourself a goal. They grab their second, and just moments later, icing on the cake, get your third. Aaron Wheeler, apologize. Great cut back across. Everybody thinks he's going to let it ride with the right foot. Instead, puts it on his left. That's his first brace since June 22nd of 2016. Oh, so sweet, 6 years later.
Our full-time stats brought to you by the Better Business Bureau. And you look at that, one shot on target. There was just one shot in the second half for RGV.
There was no creativity at all within the final third. And so coming in, we said, okay, well, here's what you can get out of Pinzon. This is what you're going to get out of Icaza, Juan Pablo Torres, Ricky Ruiz. None of those names were regularly called, nor in conjunction with each other. The game was broken down into the exact manner that Colorado Springs wanted. Outside of the final 15 minutes of the first half, RGV could not produce. Switchbacks were quality, and they move on.
So here is the USL Playoff Western Conference bracket presented by Hisense. Colorado Springs, of course, moving on. We don't know against who. It will not be, of course, against San Antonio, but they become big Oakland fans. They want to host next week.
Yeah, big time. They want an opportunity for back-to-back home games. Oakland Roots on the road against San Diego Loyal. That's the key. If Oakland Roots take down San Diego, they will then go on to face San Antonio, and Switchbacks will get the winner of Sac Republic and New Mexico United tonight. Of course, we won't know that outcome because they don't face off until tomorrow. But hang around. Plenty of action still tonight. Sac Republic and New Mexico United already underway.
Well, that will do it for our coverage tonight. The Western Conference playoffs starting off with a bang, and RGV's season comes to a close at the hands of the Switchbacks. For our entire crew, broadcast partner Devin Kerr, I'm Josh Eastern saying so long. It finishes Colorado Springs 3, RGV 0. Good night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.